So in today's episode of Kaito Sentai lupinranger and Keisetsu Sentai patranger, we get continuation of last episode where the cops were actually beaten by the monster. And we see the continuation of that fight with the lupinrangers, where they're actually kinda beating it in a way, but they're also fighting Gachu or whatever you pronounce it, and that they're actually fighting them both. And we also get see the weapon of the splash trigger machine, which is cool. And I like the dynamic on how they actually made emphasis on how the thieves and the cops are gonna do it or win together, just because that they put emphasis on the 5 safes can't be opened together, or they have to be opened together. And I like how Noel actually challenges Keitaro, the person that's more, I'll just say, not accepting of the idea, where he actually challenges him to a duel. And that duel is in an iconic location in Tokusatsu already, which is really cool. And I like the fight that Keiichiro is actually on par with Noel, that he actually has 2 sides or 2 powers to him, gold and silver, which I actually like how he's actually putting up a fight. And in this fight as well, Noel actually reveals a bunch of what the lupinrangers' objective is, to save their loved ones, and I like how subtle it is, and it's not in your face like other reveals. And I like how they didn't really show this fight ending, but the mid-fight. No. And that the lupinrangers actually see the patrangers actually having a hard time with the monster and deciding to help, and both sides get beaten. And Keiichiro and Noel actually saves both teams by appearing. And I like how they didn't reveal the winner of that battle, just the subtle references. And that Kairi actually gives Keiichiro the splash dial fighter, and that both teams and even this fight is really cool and is well choreographed by the people who have actually made this episode. And entirely all, this episode was a really cool one to watch. And I like how the collection pieces for the monster are actually sentai, morphers or changers. You can see, I think, a few of them, like Gokaiger's morpher, Magi Ranger's morpher, Shinkanger's morpher, Goanger's morpher, and Bukenger's morpher, which are really cool that actually used sentai morphers as collection pieces in this one. And the fight itself was a really cool one with the mechs, that Keiichiro didn't really hesitate, but he actually agreed to it with Good Striker. And like that, Keiichiro is also the one who launches Good Striker. And in the fight as well, we also get to see the good cool Kaiser again. And we get to see one of its newer abilities, that the 2 spots on its top part where it's occupied by the blue and yellow dial fighters, and it can be swapped out by the trigger machines of the different teams. Like Keiichiro actually uses the bike and crane trigger machines to put on the top rather than the blue and yellow. And coming off of that, Kairi actually puts up the scissor and the cyclone, which are really cool that they actually use this teamwork. And even in the ending, where they actually showed the fight ending, well, that Noel actually comes back to the area, and actually looks at the finishing touch. And Keiichiro was actually the one who actually was supposed to win, but Keiichiro threw the fight off, or gave it off to Noel by shooting him in the patch on his chest and making Noel win. And I like how Noel actually owes Keiichiro one, and that Keiichiro himself is actually getting the idea of why the Phantom Thieves are stealing, and that this wasn't their choice, that this was forced on them by Koguru-san to get the collection pieces back. And I really wish that they team up more often, not fighting against each other, but I like how they saved the 7 Ranger team-ups for near to the end of the series, which I really like that they didn't do it really early on.